Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at reCapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Hello, Ashley.
Hello, darling.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I feel like our recap for today is kind of perfect transition from spring to summer as love is in bloom.
With the idea of you.
Indeed.
We are recapping romance, comedy, drama, the idea of you. It's 1 hour, 55 minutes, rated R, available on Amazon Prime. Dropped May 2nd, 2024. Here's a quick summary. So Lynn, a 40-year-old single mom, begins an unexpected romance with 24-year-old Hayes Campbell, the lead singer of August Moon, the hottest boy band on the planet. Here's the cast. Our Faith, Anne Hathaway as Solin, Nicholas Galickson as Hayes Campbell, Ella Rubin as Izzy, Perry Matfield as Ava, and Reed Scott as Dan. Critics gave this movie 82%, audience score 69%, and Google users gave this film 82%. Ashley, what's your grade for The Idea of You?
So I'm going to give this film a solid B. Very enjoyable. As we've discussed many times, there's been such a content drought. This was one I knew was coming. I had seen promo videos. I saw some interviews. It looked very cute. I was curious because I've not read the book that this is based off of. And so I'm always down for a rom-com. Let's go. Anne Hathaway looked amazing.
Sure did.
In this film. And I thought they had pretty strong chemistry. So overall, like, I enjoyed the ride of it. It was very realistic to me in terms of the hurdles that they have to face in this story. So it's a B.
I forgot to mention one notable producer of this movie is Gabrielle Union, and this
makes sense.
Movie is based off of, as you mentioned, the book by the same name, written by Robin Lee, who we know as my favorite role of hers, Usher's Confession. When I'm like, baby, please.
Once I remembered that she was Gabrielle Union's sister, one of the sisters in Deliver Us from Eva, I was like, oh, duh. So when we saw the credits, it was like, oh, duh. But I was
gorgeous.
Love to know that a Black woman wrote the book, because this is a very white cast. So
it's a very white cast. And I started the book because, as you know, I am a ravenous reader of fiction, and it's read by her. But I will say, I didn't get a chance to sink into this story because she's well educated. I believe she went to Columbia. It's a lot of flowery language that I felt like was indulgent at times, that it was hard to get into. And don't get me wrong, I've read the spectrum and I like to think of myself as an intelligent person, but I also knew, and I hate spoilers, but I knew it wasn't a happy ending. So I kind of was like, am I going to make my way through this story just for me not to be happy?
But you always say the happy endings are a very American concept.
It is very much so. And I think the timing of this movie was perfect, because I think I'm hoping rom-coms gets another life, another breath of life. J-Lo has been hanging on to the genre for dear life, and some of her projects in recent years have much to be desired. I'm thinking about the one with her love interest with Emilio Ventimiglia, The
Oh,
Second
yeah.
Chance. That was
Yeah.
not great.
I didn't mind that one. And, Milo in Another Life could be my baby daddy. But
Those thigh muscles or
I mean, his
something.
face card has been
That
strong
too.
for his
That's
whole
true
life.
too.
You
Yeah.
know, like Milo is a beautiful man. So don't let Jack fool y'all. He's been a heartthrob. Go back in history. But yeah, I just theaters, movies, it's not the same, right? That it
It's not
once
the
was.
same. No, it's
So
not.
we got a lot besides
Well,
superhero movies. There's a lot to
we
be
just
desired.
talked about Challengers, and the only reason why we went because one, Zendaya is a huge movie star, but it was an erotic thriller, so to speak. So you kind of wanted to see what was going to happen. I feel like it needs that extra something for studios to put it actually in the theater versus
Streaming.
straight to streaming. So anyway, I said all that to say Anne Hathaway has had a nice run of rom-coms, and I feel like this is one of them. And I was trying to think about the rom-com goats. Sandra Bullock, the last one she did, I wasn't in love with. Lost Island or Lost City or something.
Oh yeah, with her and Channing.
Yeah,
That didn't really feel like a rom-com either. It was very, I guess what
like
rom-coms seem like they're
adventure.
more like today. Yeah, but it was definitely more like action, adventure, similar to what the movie I just had, Argyle, that I was talking about on Apple TV. It was more in line with that, which was like action, adventure, a little bit of like
Mm,
comedy in there too.
yeah,
But true rom-coms, I mean, if we're talking about in the day, the Meg Ryans of it all, the Julia
yeah,
Roberts of it all.
yeah,
I mean, even Rachel McAdams have
yeah.
been a rom-com staple for years.
Um,
So,
and then I wanted to highlight
and we're talking about white actresses. Obviously, we have our black
yeah, we have
actresses.
but then you have Gabrielle Union and then Gabrielle Union and Gabrielle Union and then maybe Vivica.
I was gonna say I mean, I think a lot of them end up having to diversify a lot more in terms of their ability so that they don't get typecast, right?
True.
Differently than some white actresses do.
Yeah.
Because, Julia Roberts could be strictly rom-com back in the day and be the highest paid female actress in
Easy.
Hollywood. And that just was
Yeah.
not the case for Black actresses. Halle Berry couldn't just sit and be in rom-coms and be that
Yeah.
in the day. So.
Yeah. And the last attempt of a rom-com that I tried to watch was Anything But You with old girl from Euphoria and old dude from Top Gun.
I've watched that twice and it was a struggle.
Garbage.
It was a struggle. I mean, it was one of those, it's an adaptation of Shakespeare, right? But like
Shakespeare.
10
Yes.
Things I Hate About You, phenomenal, right? Like we've seen it done well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was, first of all, I don't feel like they had great chemistry.
Nope.
And also, it didn't feel very
I don't know if it was her acting
substantive.
either.
But it also
Yeah.
just didn't feel like it felt like y'all just wanted to put a bunch of pretty people on a beach in Australia.
Yes. Yes. And somebody said they felt like the script was AI written.
Like y'all literally.
It was cringe. It was cringe, Ashley. But let's talk about a non-cringy movie. Okay, did I give my grade my grade for this movie?
No.
I'm giving it a B plus, A minus. I'm in that vein because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chemistry between the two leads. I enjoyed the music in this movie. And it was
Shout
just
out to
very
our boy band
light.
era.
Shout out. And so let's go ahead and get into this recap. Spoiler alert. We meet Solin. She is a businesswoman. She is a single mom looking forward to much needed alone time. Sis is going camping in the woods. She legit had Camping for Dummies as a book. I'm like, okay, sis.
On first watch, I didn't catch where she was going. I knew she was taking a trip by herself, but I didn't catch she had said camping, not even glamping, camping.
I would love to do a glamping moment. I
Me
am
too.
not opposed.
Give me a
Not opposed.
bathroom. Give me a bathroom.
And a bed. But yes, absolutely. Right before she goes wild, wink, wink. Shout out to Reese Witherspoon.
Can I
Okay.
just say something real quick? I'll be honest with y'all. I think one of the reasons why, as a Black person, I am opposed to camping is because I be thinking like my ancestors went through too much for me to be shitting in a hole in the ground. That's all.
But our ancestors were so connected to our lands, even though these weren't our
They
motherland,
were.
literally.
Yep.
I feel like there's an opportunity there to find that connection and that intuition that's
Yeah,
there.
it sure is. But I can do that in other ways. Absolutely.
Oh, I think one of my favorite, I have master class, and there's this African American gentleman. I hate that I don't remember his name, but he's like, he fell in love with gardening because when you do it right, you're blessed with life. And I was like, oh, that was so
There
profound.
you go. There you go. Gardening.
You said not the woods. Okay, Ashley, I gotta ask you the first question. You're in the woods. Would you rather be with a man or a bear? This question. It is
No.
burning up the internet right now on women's preferences on whether they would be in the woods with a man or a bear. But I would like to know your answer before I give you
Because
the
both
general
can be
consensus.
dangerous and deadly once we're out in the woods. Who do you have a better chance with getting away from?
However you want to
y'all talking
answer
about
this
like a
question,
partner.
Ashley.
Okay. If we were talking about like my man, my partner, my
No,
whoever.
we are not. We are
Okay.
talking you in the woods. Are you okay with a man or a bear?
Well, then am I in danger in both scenarios?
Ashley, answer the question.
Oh my gosh. If I'm in danger, give me the bear. I feel like a bear is not going to come at me with the same motivation, the same necessarily intensity. If I can find something that will distract the bear, I can get away. A man, if he has intentions to harm me, has a better chance of successfully doing so in the woods.
You have given the answer that most women have given, which is they would rather be in the woods with a bear than a man. Men are predators, unfortunately, in our
Yes.
society.
Yes.
And men are upset at the answer. It is like, y'all don't see the problem? Y'all don't.
But I feel like if they think it through, they would have the same answer because
that's the key.
Yeah.
The key point. If they were to think it through, I don't think much thinking is done, Ashley.
That's like if you think about a dangerous situation, would you rather be with an animal that has less intellect and at least they're just going off of their primal instinct, or a person who is fully intent on harming you and has opposable thumbs?
I too would rather be in the woods with a bear.
Okay.
Right before she goes wild, again, shout out to my plan to anyone who gets it. In the woods, she drops her daughter and her.
Oh, was that a Reese Witherspoon?
Yes, it's
Got
a 2014 movie.
Got it.
She goes backpacking in the woods.
Also based off a book.
Yes, that one was much darker, much heavier in subject matter. So Lynn drops her daughter and friends off at her ex's house. They are going to Coachella because the father purchased tickets for their daughter to see August Moon. We find out on their trip to the husband's house that August Moon is so 7th grade. I felt like that said a lot about the father's relationship with the daughter. You know, it's like, you don't even know what she's actually interested in. When he was trying to invite her over to dinner because Ava cooked, I was like, WTF? What is this a cultural thing? Because I don't know Black people who play nice with the other women. Like, I don't.
And it's funny you say that because I was just watching Reba earlier and I said Reba has some level of like forgiveness that I don't think I'll ever know, right? Because she became best friends with Barbara Jean, the other woman.
She was pregnant. The other woman in that.
Yes. Barbara Jean got pregnant. Her and Brock got married, and then were married for years, right? And so then over time, she like wore Reba down. They actually became friends. And so, I don't know if it's cultural. I'm sure there are, because I see more and more, hear more and more about great like co-parenting relationships and how people can get to that point. I just don't know if that means that I'm ever going to be cool with your significant other who you had an affair with. I may do what I need to do for the sake of my children, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to eat that,
Exactly. I'm not coming over for dinner.
I was like, it's like a sensitivity chip. That's what I always be thinking. It's a sensitivity chip that's just missing in your head.
And honestly, while you were talking, what came to mind was Alicia Keys and
and I still ain't over that, just as like a bystander.
But they like have since released a book. I'm talking about Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats ex-wife.
I don't care about none of that. I watched a little architectural digest. They will always have a stain on their relationship for that, because to me.
I just wanted to ask you, as an audience member, was it hard to gauge her daughter's age? Because honestly, I'm like,
she looked 35 to be so messed up.
Girl,
like, are y'all
going to Coachella? I'm like, why are you driving her to Coachella? Like, if she's old enough to go to Coachella, you don't need to be there. I don't.
It hit me when she took her to camp. I was like, are like 25-year-olds going to camp?
I didn't think they did the best job showing that this young lady was actually in high school until they had to explicitly say it to my face.
I think they just hired an actress who her age just isn't ambiguous enough. They needed to probably hire somebody younger who they could age up.
Yeah, probably. Also, did you ever grow out of your favorite boy band?
We know it wasn't at that age, right? I wasn't 16 over my interest in like NSYNC and popular music at the time. I mean, once I became an adult, yeah. I mean, my musical taste always varied, though. It wasn't like that was the only music that I was listening to at any point in time either. So maybe there's that.
Feel like I outgrew NSYNC or Backstreet Boys or 112 or I even wrote Day 26.
I think the era outgrew itself, right? So like if they had still been as popular, it seems like August Moon and this film is still going like at the height, I think if they had still been around, maybe we would have continued to consume, but they hit a peak in the 99 early 2000s, and so music just moved on. I think that's more what it was than being like, oh, we're too old for this, because the harmony's still harmony.
That is what I'm saying. The choreography was
still choreographies. And like there's boy bands and then there's like Boys to Men and New Edition. That's not the same.
And honestly, with this particular story, it's giving, a lot of people like to say, One Direction, because I even feel like One Direction was different than NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. I feel like it's just something about it that feels less artificial. Granted, they technically they auditioned and created a band. Maybe because they created in front of our eyes, it just felt different. And also I was not the key demographic for them when they were popular either. Absolutely. Granted, I did like a couple of their songs because I'm a fan of all music and pop and things,
and both Zayn and Harry Styles, and I mean, they have great voices, I enjoyed them as individual artists.
Yeah, that's true. So the dad flakes and asks Solon to cancel her trip and take their daughter and friends to Coachella instead. I'm like, I think it's convenient that you have an emergency, you have to go, but your new wife has to go with you.
Their dynamic in general, like that actress was in a show where she was blind on Netflix and I didn't like her. And so their dynamic,
I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like In the Dark, I think is what that show is called. And so their dynamic in this did nothing to help her for me. I was like, who are you? What is your personality type?
A morally great character on the show because she was the main character.
One could say she was beyond morally gray. I mean, I think you would have a lot of reason to just not like her character.
And Solon said, okay, let me go ahead and take these kids to Coachella. What were your thoughts on the adult women moonheads? I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to sound hypocritical, but it was a bit uncomfortable for me.
No, the one lady she spoke to, it was because when she pointed out the poster, I was like, they look like children. So why
Yes.
are you calling this young guy fine? But I guess they're supposed to be of legal age, right? So that was a more recent poster than I had thought it was. Because if you're saying that about like a 16-year-old, we got a problem.
Exactly. I was gonna ask you also, do you feel like there's a difference between Solin and the elder fans?
Yeah, because I mean, she didn't go into it with that fandom, right? Like she went
Mhm.
truly to support her daughter and her daughter getting this opportunity that her father paid for, even though she was not excited about it. So it was just like, oh, I'm here. Let me go ahead and, do what I got to do. And then, oh, Hayes
Yeah,
connects.
let's talk about this meet cute. They beat in his trailer to go to the restroom. I think one of my favorite lines, she's like, yeah, my daughter is a fan. I cackled. I was like, absolutely. I also feel like that was the best angle for her to not be a fan, for him to be interested in her. And he was definitely filling her out, Ashley, talking about, oh, so your daughter's father versus husband.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, he was peeping her from the get go. Ultimately, again, she was so clueless, but she caught the hint and he prepared for the performance. Oh, but before the performance, they do the meet and greet, and he was holding up the line, trying to get her name. Shout out to Zeke, who is the young black boy that was with the group. I think he was the best wingman of all.
He
Letting
said,
him
you don't look
know
like my mom.
he was like, she owns an art business, gave the location and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the interaction was cute. So we get to the performance, and so Lynn again is a spectator, and then she slowly gets into it because she was intrigued by her interaction with Hayes. And we see that they end up switching the set to Sing Closer. Would that be a closer for you, Ashley, in terms of like being intrigued? Like, would you give him a chance?
Absolutely.
Really? Being
Absolutely.
serenaded. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm already a fan, a huge fan of music, a huge fan of that type of talent. So if I thought that he had possibly switched his set to sing to me, oh my God, yes, drop, panty drop. Absolutely. Like
It,
that's a panty dropper.
it's the lyrics of I know you're a little bit older.
I mean, my guy knew how to play the game. Let me just say that. He knew how to play the game.
Oh,
I would be
talking
thinking like, oh,
about
this ain't
baby
your first
rest
time.
on my shoulder.
Yeah. This ain't your first rodeo. Got it.
They call that the Oedipus Rex syndrome of like when guys are into women who could be their mother's age. This is based off a Greek story that's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
In an interview, Nicholas said that they were in Atlanta for this performance because they were like, "Did you actually go to Coachella?" He was like, "No," and all the other band members apparently are dancers, and he was out here singing. Nicholas was out here singing these songs, so
Sounded good.
I was impressed. I was impressed. So Lynn goes back home. She celebrates her 40th birthday. And she's not really meshing with the guys very well. I'm not gonna lie. This scene kind of reminded me of our recap of The Perfect Fine, of like how Gabrielle Union was just not connecting with the dudes her age at all. I mean, it was I wrote in my notes, she needs better friends, Ashley. I'm like, y'all need to bring better men to my party, okay? Lying about being in relationships and equating their animals as children. Is that okay? Is that a red flag for you, Ashley?
I don't want to judge people who deeply love their animals, but I can't say it's for me. Like, I'm not a animal sleeping in the bed person or any of that, so it could lead to conflict.
not lead to conflict. Oh my gosh. And to be fair, I used to say I'm not a dog on my couch or bed person. And it took the right dog to be like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep right here next to your feet at night. And I say that because one thing that I love about Charlie is whenever I'm sick, he is never really far. So when I was sick a couple of weeks ago, he was like right there in bed with me. And he really didn't leave me because I was pretty much kind of quarantined.
Dang, the fam says stay where you are. We'll bring things
I don't want to get them
you.
sick either.
Mhm.
But anyway.
Well, Delora, just remember this. If I'm still single on my 40th birthday, bring all the fine men you know to my party.
And I'm going to cheers to life experience because I feel like that was foreshadowing. Live life to the fullest. So one day, Hay shows up to Solin's art gallery and essentially asks her, put it in the bag, buys her entire collection. I mean, was he trying to impress her, or do you just feel like he just wanted to just spend time with her?
Both. I mean, if you got money to buy out an entire art gallery, both. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me flex, show you what I can do, but also this is my chance to connect with you and, try to figure out more about you and possibly have a little love affair.
He said, "You've never seen me buy apples before." They traveled to they traveled to a warehouse where they saw more art and they see the piece Unclose Me, a painting that she says she feels everything when she looks at it. They get to know each other. Ashley, he tells her that he auditioned for the band. She talked about how she was a former pre-med student turned art student, and we find out that why she's so intriguing to him is the fact that he's like, I don't meet people like you very often, and of course you're hot or whatever. They make their way to her house, and I knew he was down bad when he was like, oh, I can help you clean out your refrigerator. Like, sir, excuse me. Talking about, I can smell your milk if you want me to. Oh, your sandwich is the best sandwich I've ever had. They get to know each other, and he wants to know everything, like her ex-husband and everything. I just was really surprised and impressed that he was like, oh yeah, I want all the tea. You intrigue me. I want all of it, including the ending of your relationship. Is this a lot for a first date, Ashley? Or do you feel like it just depends on the type of connection you have with the person?
Yeah, I think it depends on the connection, right? And clearly he was trying to invest in having a more significant relationship with her. So, he was trying to understand the dynamics, and the fact that she was willing to share says a lot about the fact that she was clearly interested too.
Yeah. And we find out about the end of Solin and her ex-husband's relationship. And you could tell from even the initial encounters with her and them that it really hurt her. And to get the story, the fact that this woman was willing to turn a blind eye and he said he didn't want to get past it and left. Whoa. Wow.
Yeah.
They kiss, and she is like, I am too old for you. I could be your mother. I feel like, girl, why do you have to throw this in his face? Like, I don't know. Like, enjoy the kiss. Like, is this just her verbalizing her inner struggle? Like, I feel like at this rate, it's for her, not for him.
Yeah, I think she was judging herself. I think had she not probably felt some type of way about the age difference between her husband and the woman that he left her for, maybe she would have been more forgiving of herself in that scenario. But she's probably like, this is ridiculous. Like, I remember how ridiculous it seemed when he did this, and now I'm about to do this. I mean, he's 24, right? He's 24.
Oof. I'm not gonna lie, for him to be a pop star, I'm surprised he left with only a kiss. I'm not gonna lie. Were you surprised by that or no?
No, what was he gonna do? She
I don't know. There's just this stigma of like pop stars being over sexual with like everybody, and you know,
I mean, I think it was respectful. You don't want to force yourself on her. She's
of
saying,
course
nah,
not.
I'm
That's
gonna
true.
I'm gonna take you back if you want to go back. She was clearly not wanting to go any further. So I thought it happened the way it needed to.
Yeah, he left his watch as like, I will be back.
That's a move for sure.
Absolutely. Cool for the summer. It's summertime, Ashley. And so Lynn's daughter is off to summer camp, and Hayes texts her talking about, I can't stop thinking about that kiss. He invites her to meet up with him in New York. He flew her out, Ashley. Now,
Did he?
the problem that I have is the fact that she was flying freaking coach in the middle seats.
We are here. This was the scene I was verbally out loud like, ain't no way you texted me to come meet you across the country and I'm flying coach.
I can't even get a window seat.
I can't get first class, baby. You be flying in PJs. Why you got me back here in coach like this?
Insanity. And is it first class in PJs after you get in these draws or something? Because I don't.
Yep. And that's why I said, did he fly her out or did she pay for that ticket? Because
it was so interesting watching her approach the room, because it's like, oh, we know it's about to go down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you felt that nervous energy and anticipation when approaching, and she looked so good. And
yeah, I love that dress.
So good. So yeah, there wasn't much talking. We learned that he does have a level of vulnerability with being a part of a boy band and wanting to be taken seriously. And they connect over a song that I did not know and didn't think it was that great. Like, they had this whole scene of them like bonding and dancing and singing, and I'm just like, I don't even know what this song is. Maybe because I wasn't around in the 80s in that way. But even then, I have a great appreciation of all music through the ages. It's just, I don't know. They tried to make a cute sing. It just didn't happen for me, Ashley. He invites her to their European leg world tour. And he was like, you ain't got no art in your galleries and your daughter is out in camp. You are available. Was he playing a long game? I'd be impressed if he was.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was serious, right? Like, maybe it's, optimistic youth, but I just don't think he was looking at it at all the angles in the same way she was, right? He's going with the flow. He's going with the moment. I really enjoy you. I'm enjoying getting to know you. I enjoy your company. I don't want this to end.
Yeah. And I have the resources and you have the time.
Girl, come on, have this flight.
Would you do it?
That's a great question. Depends on what era I am in life, right? If I felt that I was in the case of Solène where I could get away with it because I don't have to deal with my usual responsibilities, sure, I love an adventure. I technically have, some would say, wanderlust. I just really like to be doing different things in different places. But I don't know about the age difference thing. That would be hard for me.
Ashley, that is my follow-up question. Would you be able to hang out with a bunch of 20-something-year-olds in a close proximity?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes to a head at the pool.
Yep.
But I think even before that, like, I think sometimes I take myself too seriously, but in that case, I would want to take myself more seriously, where it's like, I have to be able to respect myself and look at myself in the mirror in the morning. And I just don't know if this is the right setup for me in my life.
Wait, why wouldn't you be able to look at yourself in the mirror?
Because I don't know if I would be respecting my decisions. Like, I think I might struggle with the idea of like, is this ridiculous? Do I look ridiculous? Do I seem ridiculous?
Like, one of these things are not like the other.
Yeah,
right?
Like, I'm not trying to relive my youth, but I'm getting this baby dick, so.
Don't say it like that.
I'm just saying. He ain't remotely seasoned yet, you know.
But
So
he's energetic and has stamina.
and he's very sweet. I will give his
Yes.
character that. He is so
And he doesn't come off as dumb, which I also respect too. Because
yeah.
that's where the age difference would probably matter for me. It's like, can we have a conversation?
Yeah, like when he told her my biggest fear is like being a joke, I'd be thinking like in this moment, mine too, you know?
Yes. Yes. So as you mentioned, we are in Ibiza, and I feel like this is the first time in the movie where I legit laughed out loud the way she came out in that pool fully clothed.
That Momo.
I was like, sis, you are perfectly fine. But I mean, those were definitely post teenage bodies out there with fresh skin,
Girl,
perky
talking about they
breasts.
in college. I'm like, college.
Exactly. But I just want to know why Ali is the biggest hater of all time.
I don't know when he flipped the script like that because he was flirtatious at the meet and greet
Yep.
and then became antagonistic. I was like,
I almost felt like my theory is like maybe he felt like so Lynn's relationship with Hayes was effing up the vibe of what the things they were used to doing, and he wanted that back.
yeah, just
She
being
brought a level of
selfish.
maturity to the table that he was just like, I'm not there.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
just was
there
being
yet.
selfish. That's probably true. Because remember some of the headlines was like Yoko Ono 2.0. I'm like, y'all are doing a lot. Like
Doing too much.
she ain't trying to break up the band.
No, not at all. But girl, she finds out that that closer song was a bit of a stint for the band for them to bag the girls. She left so fast. She felt so stupid. And the conversation that they had, he was like, "Are you ashamed of me?" And she said, "I am ashamed." Ashley, do you think she overreacted?
No, I don't think she overreacted. Do I wish that it had been able to come across another way? Yeah, because it was hurtful, you know. And like I said, he's so sweet, he's so sincere. Um, and I guess unlike her, like I'm used to people running game. So like I would not have necessarily just thought that like this was a unique situation strictly for you. Like he didn't know you for real yet. So like dudes run game. You know what I'm saying?
I probably would have fallen for it because I mean, I don't know. Again, they travel around the world, and if for them it could be a game, like you said, like, oh, Rory likes this girl, so let's do the stint over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people have moves.
That's true.
People have moves.
She leaves. At least she leaves in first class, Ashley.
Exactly. At least let me go out in style.
Her ex-husband has the audacity to question her.
Now he was a hater.
Girl, the story leaks. The daughter is apparently okay with it. I
I
think
would
that
have
was
been
her
too.
biggest hurdle.
I told my
Yeah,
mom, I was like, I would have been proud. Good
girl,
girl.
especially because I know her daughter saw her hurt and she just wants her to be happy.
Yeah.
And we have to remember it was Rory. It was always Rory.
Yeah. Ain't like she took my man in the group. So do you, ma? Do you?
I think after she got that stamp of approval, she felt comfortable approaching Hayes again. But and they rekindle their love and they go public, and it makes major waves. This ex-husband situation again, him calling her his wife. I'm like, you the worst type of person who only seems to be happy when you are presumed on top.
Yep. And his wife told his I don't know if they were actually married, but Eva told his ex-wife before she even told him she was leaving him. So that speaks volumes about their relationship.
Absolutely. But the final straw actually is with them going public, even though they stayed off of social media, it did not stop the harassment that her daughter faced at school. Oh, dude offered to quit the band, Ashley.
I know. He loved her.
I have to ask you, I'm like, so you're not going to fight for us? I just, I feel like she's been double dutching with this relationship the entire time. I felt kind of bad for him, the way she was so indecisive within herself to move forward with this relationship.
I knew it was over though once the daughter started running into issues. I'm like, she's a mom
Yep.
and she's going to put her child first. So this relationship is doomed. And did I feel bad for him? Yes, but I also felt bad for her because she
Yeah.
has to make that type of sacrifice. Like her dad, he had no problem doing his thing and having both. Why can't she?
Right.
So I felt bad that it had to end like this.
Yeah, because that was my follow-up question is like, do you feel like she was standing her ground? And I think she was definitely, her being a mother and making sure that her daughter was at peace and well off was definitely top priority for her. But they left the door open. They left a little crack. They said in 5 years we can revisit this. And we get a flash forward 5 years. I'm impressed that she just randomly changed the channel and get the Graham Norton show. I'm like, Houseway, that's a British show.
Yeah, I was
The only
like,
way I can watch it is on
are you on YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or clips on Instagram. Hayes is solo performing. She gets a haircut. Her daughter's off in college.
Finally playing her age, probably.
Probably. Exactly. And Hayes shows up to the gallery. What are your final thoughts of the idea of you?
So I am glad that it had a happy ending because I know that in the book it did not, to your point. And
Yes.
I understand that for the writer that can be frustrating, but it felt right. It felt sweet because of the way that the story went to have them where, yeah, we may not have got our happily ever after in that moment, but we both felt it was real love. It was a real connection.
It was enough connection for us to, give it another chance.
And especially on his part, right? Like the fact that you continued with the band and then went solo and she was still on your heart in this way. I loved it. So I thought that it wrapped up the way I would have wanted it to wrap up. And like I said, I think that they had really, really great chemistry. And so much of it was realistic in terms of how I thought that the story should unfold given like the circumstances. And I'm glad that Anne, aka Solène, got to have her love story.
I agree. I immediately was reminded of Dear John, Channing Tatum. So I read the book. It was Nicholas Sparks' book, and it was not a happy ending. And in the movie, they did something similar where there was hope for the two. And I'm like, the name of the book is called Dear John for a reason. But anyway. But I was reminded of that. And I did enjoy how they did this particular ending because I appreciated the hope. I love a good HEA. Overall, I enjoyed the movie as well as the music. Did you have any favorite songs? Because I have two that I really liked.
No, what are your two?
My two favorite songs are Dance Before We Walk and Guard Down. Guard Down actually reminded me a lot of The Police. It was giving me a Sting vibe for sure. But shout out to Prime and these original movies and shows that have decent music. I love that. And shout out to Nicholas. He is having a freaking moment in his career. Honestly, the first time I notably noticed him, he was in the Cinderella with Camila Cabello, which was on Prime.
I didn't even remember
Then,
he
of
was in that.
course, yeah. Then he was in Red, White, and Royal Blue, which again, phenomenal book. The movie was okay, but he had great chemistry with his co-star there. And he's also in Mary and George, which I want to see, which is a mini series on Showtime. I hadn't seen that one though, but he is out here killing it in his
Mhm.
career. And I feel like he has chemistry with everybody. Everybody.
Do your thing, sir. He was also in this movie called Purple Hearts that I had totally forgotten he
Yes,
was
on
in because my mom
Netflix.
rewatched it on Netflix. And I was like, or she watched it for the first time. I was like, I forgot he was in this. So he's
Yes.
been around.
He's been around and he's growing on me because I thought he was an interesting. I'm like, who is this young man? He's like in these movies. But he's super talented and versatile. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Ashley. If there's nothing else, time for hidden gems.
All right, so I have two this week, and they're pretty much polar opposites in terms of content. So the first one is falls in line with the rom-com theme. It's a teen rom-com called How to Date Billy Walsh on Prime. Super cute.
Yes, yes, yes,
It's
yes.
starring some of our like kind of more well-known younger actors right now, like Tanner Buchanan. He plays Billy Walsh. Charithra from Bridgerton, another shout out to
Yep.
Bridgerton, was in season 2. Sebastian Croft, I wasn't familiar with as Archie, but I know he was in I think it was Heartstopper or one of those like popular shows that have been out that I haven't seen. And it was one of those, friends to lovers tropes, and
Yep.
kind of gave me some like 80s film vibes of the
Yep.
times where you have the friend and you're trying to help them get the person their crush, but you're secretly in love with them. It was one of those, and I thought it was super cute. The shenanigans were cute. I just enjoyed it, and it was one of, again, talk about a drought. It was one of those I watched. I was like, oh, thank you, something delightful. So that's How to Date Billy Walsh on Prime. And then my second one is a drama, and it is a true story based off a book of the same name, and it's Under the Bridge on Hulu. This is a series, and it delves into the murder of a 14-year-old girl named Rena Kirk, who was killed viciously by fellow teenagers. And it's really heartbreaking to watch. It's actually set in British Columbia, in a city that had never really known such violence. And so it was a very unusual case. It stars what's her name, who just had her Oscars run. It stars Lily Gladstone. Riley Keough is also in this series. Vratika Gupta plays Rena. We also have Javon Walton, who we know from Euphoria, who's starring in this. Archie Punjabi, who's well known. So you have a pretty well-known cast that's kind of pushing this series forward. But like I said, it is pretty heavy material. But I was interested in kind of giving it a watch and getting to know this story because I do kind of like a lot of true crime type of series. So if you're into that, Under the Bridge on Hulu. What you got, Delora?
All right, Ashley. I have two hidden gems, both musical related. The I Give You soundtrack, as I mentioned, I enjoy two of the songs, but I actually listened to the whole thing whenever I just need background music. It wasn't bad. It's definitely boy band vibes, but I feel like they play with the decades a little bit. Like I mentioned with the Guard Down, it was more of like the late 80s and the police sound, but then Dan's Before You Walk was definitely a One Direction type of vibe, and it's a lot of fun. And I also like the headline song, The Idea of You, sang by the Star. And I'm currently obsessed with Hozier, Too Sweet. Apparently everyone else is too, but I was on the bandwagon before everyone. So I feel like I could have definitely been in I feel like I could have been in A&R easy.
I agree. I used to say the same just because I always say, oh, I know Chris Brown was a star from Run It.
Oh, easy. It was palpable.
Yeah,
And
superstar.
yeah, oh dude had bubble gum commercials. I don't remember anyone having one since. You know what I mean?
True.
Whew. But Too Sweet, love it. I'm here for Hozier and his, borderline sad boy music. Yeah, that's about it, Ashley.
All right. Well, guys, thank you as always for sticking with us. If you have not seen this film, what are you waiting for? Give it a watch on whoever in your family has an Amazon Prime account. We know how it goes. Please share this episode with everyone. We so appreciate you guys. We will be back, but in the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.